I got the text from my son, Jake, at 4:47 p.m. Dinner's off.
Mom.
Dad says keep it low-key tonight. Love you. It was the kind of message that should have warmed me, casual, affectionate. The love you, tacked on like an afterthought from a 25-year-old trying to play grown-up. But Jake never called it low-key. And why was his dad, my ex-husband of 3 years, suddenly the authority on family plans? I stared at my phone in the driver's seat of my beat-up Honda Civic, parked outside the Whole Foods in Evanston, Illinois, where I'd just splurged on a 12-pound rib roast and 2 bottles of Cabernet Sauvignon, our traditional Sunday ritual. The one thing that had survived the divorce, like a stubborn weed in cracked concrete. Rain pattered against the windshield, blurring the neon glow of the strip mall. Something gnawed at me, a mother's sixth sense sharpened by too many lies. I texted back, "Everything okay? On my way anyway. Need to drop off the wine." No reply. That's when I knew. I arrived early, 5:15 p.m., 20 minutes before the usual hour, to our old colonial on Maple Avenue. The house I'd poured my soul into before it all went to hell. The driveway was packed, my sister-in-law's SUV, Jake's buddy from college, even that sleazy realtor from Tom's firm. Laughter spilled out like smoke from the cracked front window. I killed the engine, heart pounding, and slipped my key into the lock. The door swung open, and there it was, 15 people crammed around my dining table, forks clinking against china I'd handpicked in Chicago's Magnificent Mile. Plates piled with food that smelled suspiciously like my roast. Impossible. Unless someone had swiped it from my cart. They froze like deer in headlights. Aunt Rita, mid-bite, her Botox smile cracking. Cousin Mikey choking on a laugh. And at the head, my Tom, with his salt and pepper hair and that easy grin that used to make me weak, raising a glass of my Cabernet. "To new beginnings," he said, voice booming, before his eyes locked on mine. The room went pin-drop silent, save for the sizzle of rain on the roof. What the hell was this? A party? Without me? In the house I'd lost in the settlement because I'd been too broken to fight? I stood there, dripping wet, feeling like the punchline to a joke I hadn't heard. That was the moment I decided, no more playing the victim. Tom had taken everything, my trust, my freedom, my goddamn life, and now he'd stolen my seat at the table. But tables turn, and I was done waiting for mine. The betrayal didn't start that rainy Sunday. It slithered back 5 years, to a muggy July night in our backyard, where the fireflies danced like drunk confetti over the grill. Tom and I were celebrating Jake's high school graduation, steak sizzling, craft IPAs sweating in the cooler, neighbors milling about with their kids. I was 42 then, still clinging to the illusion of the perfect suburban dream, PDA president, real estate agent closing deals left and right, the mom who baked lavender scones for bake sales.
Tom,
ever the charmer, was toasting Jake's future at Northwestern, his arms slung around our boy's shoulders. "To the man of the house," he'd said, winking at me. I laughed, because that's what you do when your husband's jokes land like softballs. Jake was 18, all gangly limbs and that mop of chestnut hair he refused to cut, eyes already shadowed by the weight of secrets he thought I didn't notice. He'd been distant for months, skipping curfews, whispering on his phone late at night. I chalked it up to senioritis, the angst of leaving the nest. But that night, as the party wound down and guests trickled out, I found him by the garage, hunched over his laptop, face illuminated by the glow of encrypted chats. "Mom, You shouldn't be out here, he said, slamming the screen shut. His voice cracked, not with teenage rebellion, but something deeper, guilt, maybe fear. I knelt beside him, the dew-soaked grass soaking through my capris. What's going on, kiddo?
Talk to me.
He hesitated, then spilled it in a rush. He'd been running errands for a guy from the wrong side of town. A low-level hustler named Rico who supplied product to frat boys at U of I.
Weed.
Pills, nothing hardcore. Jake swore. But one drop-off had gone sideways. A baggie of ecstasy, laced with fentanyl, ended up killing a freshman. Campus cops were sniffing around, and Rico was pinning it on Jake to save his own skin. My stomach dropped like I'd been sucker-punched. You tell your father.
Now.
Tom was in the kitchen, rinsing plates, humming some Springsteen tune. When Jake stammered it out, Tom's face didn't crumple or rage, it calculated. He set down the sponge, poured 3 fingers of bourbon, and paced the linoleum like a defense attorney in a courtroom drama. We fix this, he said finally. Quietly.
No cops. No headlines.
Alina, you're the closer. Remember that client who got pinched for insider trading? You talked him down. I blinked. This isn't a property deal.
Tom.
Our son's life. Exactly. He leaned in, eyes hard as quartz. Jail would ruin him. Expulsion. Record. The works. Rico's connected. He makes one call. Jake's done.
But you.
You're clean. Spotless. We say the package was yours. A mix-up from a work contact. You take the heat. Plead out. Community service, maybe. I lawyer up. Pull strings. Jake walks. Goes to college like nothing happened. It sounded insane. A plot from one of those Netflix thrillers we binged on date nights. But Tom's voice had that velvet edge. The one that closed million-dollar listings. And Jake, my baby, tears streaking his face, grabbed my hand. Please.
Mom.
I can't. I won't survive it. I said yes. What mother wouldn't? I met with the prosecutor in a sterile conference room downtown, spun the tale of a misguided favor for a client. They bought it. First-time offender. Remorseful pillar of the community. Probation. Finis. Mandatory counseling. I lost my real estate license for 2 years. Watched deals evaporate while Tom climbed the ladder at his firm. Neighbors whispered. Jake thrived at Northwestern. And Tom? He started staying late at the office, coming home smelling of bourbon and someone else's perfume. The cracks widened. Arguments over money. You're not pulling your weight anymore. Alina. Cold shoulders in bed. Then, the night I came home early from a shift at the coffee shop, found lipstick on his collar and a text from Kay lighting up his phone. Can't wait for round 2. Your wife's oblivious. I confronted him in our bedroom, voice shaking. Who's Kay? Tom? And don't lie, I've earned that much. He didn't deny it.
Just sighed.
Like I was the exhausting one. Karen from accounting. It's casual. You're distant since the plea. We needed this. Alina. The family needed it. The family. I laughed. Bitter as black coffee. You mean Jake? You threw me under the bus for Jake. And now you're screwing around because I'm distant? His eyes narrowed. You chose that. Hero mom. Right? But heroes don't get the fairy tale. We separated 6 months later. Divorce papers cited irreconcilable differences, but the real difference was me. Broke. License revoked. piecing together a life from temp gigs while Tom bought a condo in Lincoln Park and started dating Karen openly. Jake sided with him. Of course, guilt manifests as loyalty to the enabler. Dad's just looking out for us.
Mom.
You understand, right? I understood betrayal's many faces. It hides in texts, in toasts, in the empty chair at Thanksgiving. But that Sunday, seeing those 15 faces, old friends who'd ghosted me post-scandal, new ones fawning over Tom's comeback story, something snapped. This wasn't just a party. It was a coronation.
Tom.
The phoenix, rising from my ashes. And Jake, complicit, texting me lies from the kitchen while carving the roast. I didn't scream. Didn't make a scene. Just stood there, letting the silence stretch like a noose. Nice spread, I said finally, voice steady as Lake Michigan in winter. Mind if I join?
Antritokoft.
Alina. Honey. We thought. Jake said you were busy. Busy. I echoed it, stepping inside, shedding my coat like snakeskin. Water pooled at my feet. Tom set down his glass, standing with that practiced concern. Babe, ex-babe, this is just a little gathering. Jake's promotion at the firm. Surprise thing. Jake emerged from the kitchen, apron dusted with flour, face paling. Mom. The text was to keep it secret. Liar. The word hung. Soft but lethal. Heads turned. I locked eyes with Tom. You always were better at surprises. He forced a chuckle, clapping my shoulder. Grab a plate. Plenty to go around. But as I sat, uninvited, at the foot of the table, opposite his throne, I wasn't hungry. I was plotting. Revenge isn't served hot. It's slow-roasted, seasoned with their own ingredients. And mine was just getting warm. The dinner dragged, a farce of small talk and forced cheer. Cousin Mikey cracked jokes about Bears tickets. Karen, yes. That Karen. Platinum highlights and a laugh like tinkling glass gushed over Tom's latest closing. A lakefront mansion in Winnetka. You're a wizard.
Tom.
How do you do it? Team effort, he said, glancing at Jake, who shoveled peas like they held salvation. I sipped the Cabernet, tart on my tongue, and listened. They talked around me, over me, about Jake's meteoric rise in turning under Tom, the firm's holiday gala, Rita's new knee. No one asked about my life, the night classes at community college for a paralegal cert, the studio apartment in Rogers Park that smelled like mildew and regret, the therapy sessions where I unpacked how I'd become the family scapegoat. Halfway through pie, apple. My recipe, bastardized with store-bought crust, Tom's phone buzzed. He checked it under the table, smile tightening. Work, he muttered, excusing himself to the study. I waited 2 beats, then followed, weaving past tipsy guests with a murmured bathroom. The door was ajar, voices leaked out, Tom's low rumble. Then a woman's, sharp and urgent.
Karen?
No. Deeper. His sister, Rita?
Wait.
I can't keep this up forever.
Tom.
The books are off by 50 grand. If Alina sniffs it, she's got nothing left to sniff with. Broke.
Bitter.
Let her stew. My blood iced. Books. Embezzlement? The pieces clicked. Tom's sudden windfalls. The firm's aggressive growth. All those late nights. Not just affairs, cooking the ledgers. Using Jake as the patsy in turn to sign off on falsified invoices. And me? I'd taken a fall once before. history repeating. With interest. I backed away, pulse thundering, and slipped into the powder room. Locked the door. Splashed water on my face. Staring at the woman in the mirror, hollow cheeks, laugh lines etched deep. No more. I'd borne their sins once. Time to unearth the graves. By 9 p.m., the guests dispersed, hugs for Tom, air kisses for me like I was the eccentric aunt. Jake walked me to my car. Rain now a downpour. Mom.
I'm sorry.
It was Dad's idea. Everything is. Isn't it? I said. Keys jingling. But Jake, why? After all I did. He shrugged.
Eyes down.
You chose to protect me. This is just. Life moving on. I drove away. Taillights blurring in the storm. But my mind sharpened. Revenge wasn't an outburst. It was architecture. First brick. Dig up the dirt. Tom's firm. Kensington Properties. Public records. Whistleblower tips. I'd start small. Anonymous emails to the board. Then escalate. Jake's complicity. Rico's old ties resurfacing like bad pennies. And the twist? I'd make them choose each other. Or the truth. But as thunder cracked overhead, I wondered, was I saving us? Or just dragging us all under? Suburban America loves its villains. But heroes? We're the ones who haunt the quiet hours. Monday morning hit like a freight train, 5 a.m. Alarm. The grind of the L train rattling my bones as I commuted to my temp gig at a law firm in the Loop. Data entry. Mostly, scanning depositions, redacting names like surgical strikes. It paid the bills. Barely. But the irony wasn't lost, surrounded by legalese. Piecing together puzzles I'd once solved for millionaires.
Now.
I was the ghost in the machine. Invisible until I chose otherwise. I brewed coffee in a chipped mug, Starbucks knockoff from the corner bodega, and fired up my laptop. The one relic from the old life that Tom hadn't claimed. First stop, Illinois Secretary of State Database. Kensington Properties, LLC, filed incorporations. Officer lists. Tom as CEO. Jake as junior associate since graduation. Clean on the surface. But I knew better. Next. Pacer, the federal court docket. Nothing popped for Kensington. But a quick Google dive into Tom's name pulled up whispers. A 2022 ethics complaint dismissed for lack of evidence. Anonymous source. Alleging questionable accounting practices. Sounded familiar. By noon, I'd compiled a dossier, screenshots, timelines. The 50 grand Rita mentioned, likely skimmed from escrow accounts, client deposits funneled into offshore dummies. Then laundered back as consulting fees. Jake's signature on 3 docs from last quarter. Perked up my radar. My boy. Playing accountant to Daddy's Ponzi. Lunch was a sad turkey wrap at my desk, scarfed while emailing a burner account to a journalist buddy from my realtor days. Lena at the Tribune. Heard whispers on Kensington. Got dirt. Her reply pinged fast. Spill. Off record for now. I hesitated. Fingers hovering. Off record meant safety. But revenge demanded noise. On record when it counts, I typed. Betrayal's a family affair. Afternoon blurred into calls, pretending to be a prospective client. Fishing for intel from Kensington's receptionist. Mr. Hargrove's calendar?
Oh.
Booked solid. Gala prep. You know. The holiday bash, black tie schmooze fest at the Drake Hotel. Tom's Kingdom, where deals were sealed over scotch and schmoozing. I clocked out at 6, body aching, but the fire burned steady. Home was the shoebox in Rogers Park, one bedroom with peeling wallpaper. Neighbors blasting reggaeton till midnight. I microwaved ramen, chased it with yesterday's Cabernet, and plotted phase 2, Jake. Confront him alone, away from Tom's gravitational pull. Texted, coffee tomorrow? Just us. Miss you. His reply, can't. Work crunch. Love ya. The love ya again, bait on a hook. Undeterred, I drove to Northwestern that evening, campus lights twinkling like false promises. Jake's old dorm was a memory, but I knew his habits, late-night runs along the lakefront. Sure enough, there he was, pounding pavement in Nikes, AirPods in, oblivious to the world. Jake, I called, jogging to catch up, lungs burning. He yanked an earbud, startled. Mom, what the, it's pouring. Since when does rain stop you? I matched his pace, the lake wind whipping my hair. Waves crashed like accusations. We need to talk. About Sunday. About everything. He slowed, wiping sweat. Look, the party was lame. Dad overdid it. It's not the party. We veered onto a bench, slick with mist. I heard Rita. In the study. 50 grand.
Jake.
What's Tom into? His face shuddered, classic deflection. You were eavesdropping?
Mom.
That's not. Save it. I took the fall for you once. Fentanyl. Remember? Lost my license. My career. For what? So you couldn't turn for a crook? Eyes wide. He stood. That was different. I was a kid. This is. Dad's building something.
For us.
The firm's struggling, post-pandemic crap. He's fixing it. By stealing? I grabbed his arm. Your signature's on those invoices. You're in it, too. He yanked free, voice rising over the surf. You don't get it. Dad saved me, lawyered up, paid off Rico. Without him, I'd be in Cook County, not here. You're the one who pled guilty. Your choice. The words landed like slaps. My choice? As if motherhood was a multiple-choice quiz. I did it for you. And now you're repaying him by playing felon. It's not like that. He paced, agitated. One more quarter. Then we're out. Clean slate. I laughed. Hollow. Clean slates are for people without ink on their hands. Walk away.
Jake.
Before it swallows you. He stared at the horizon. City lights fracturing on black water. I can't.
He's all I got now.
The now gutted me. I was alive. Breathing, yet erased. What about me?
You're
complicated. He hugged me quick. Awkward. Gotta run. Text you later. He vanished into the gloom, leaving me sodden and seething. Complicated. That's what they call women who refuse to fade quietly. Back home, Lena's email waited. Intriguing. Met a source, ex-employee. Says Kensington's cooking books since 21. Your ex the ringleader? Proof. I attached the screenshots. Hit send. Sleepless that night. I dreamed of the table, forks as pitchforks. Faces melting into accusations. Who was the villain?
Tom.
The architect? Jake. The apprentice?
Or me?
The spark igniting the blaze? Tuesday brought escalation. At work, a paralegal buzz cut, tats peeking from cuffs. Overheard my coffee break mutterings about fraud. Turned out he was ex-SEC. Moonlighting. Kensington? Yeah. I've seen the filings. Shell companies in Delaware. Want an intro to my old boss. By Wednesday, I had a contact, Marla Voss, bulldog investigator with a nose for white-collar wolves. Coffee at a dive in Wicker Park. Her treat. Black as tar. Hargrove's slippery, she said, flipping through my printouts. But family ties? That's leverage. Son involved. Deep. I sipped. Scalding. He thinks it's temporary. Hero worship. Marla snorted. Daddy's like Tom Prey on that. Plan. Expose it. Quiet at first, anonymous tips to the board. Then loud. Gala night. When egos peak. She nodded.
Sharp.
Risky. They'll come for you. Retaliate. Let them. I'd already lost everything once. Rock bottom's a hell of a foundation. That week blurred. Classes at night. Where I devoured contracts law like revenge porn, stakeouts at Tom's condo. Noting Karen's BMW in the drive, voicemails from Jake. Apologetic but distant. Dad says hi. Miss you, Mom. Friday. The twist. A package at my door, manila envelope. No return address. Inside, photos.
Me?
Outside the prosecutor's office 5 years back. Head bowed. Jake's old chat logs with Rico. Redacted, but damning. And a note. Typed. We know you're digging.
Stop.
Or Jake pays. Again.
Tom.
Or Rico.
Ghosts from the past.
My hands shook, but not from fear, from fury. They thought threats would silence me? Amateurs. I forwarded it to Marla. Her reply. Bait. Use it. Saturday. I drove to the old house, our house, under pretense of picking up mail. Tom answered. Casual in golf shirt and khakis. Alina. To what do I owe? Us. I pushed past. Into the foyer. Marble floors gleamed, mocking my thrift store flats. The photos.
Cute.
But threats? That's beneath even you. He closed the door. Sigh theatrical. What photos? If someone's harassing you, save the gaslight. I thrust the envelope at him. Jake's in over his head. Pull him out. His jaw ticked.
He's fine.
Better than fine. We're a team. Team? I stepped closer. Voice low. Like when you let me rot for his mistake.
Or now.
Cooking books while I scrape by. Eyes flashing. He grabbed my wrist, hard enough to bruise. You were always the weak link.
Dramatic.
Now get out before I call the cops. Trespassing. I wrenched free. Heart hammering. Do it. Explain the envelope to them.
He didn't.
Just watched me leave. Door slamming like a guillotine. In the car. Tears came hot. Unbidden. Not for him. But Jake. The boy I'd shielded. Now chained to the monster. Revenge tasted like ash. Sweet in theory. Choking in practice. But Sunday loomed, the gala. My stage. I'd rent a dress. Crash as +1 to a forgotten contact. Toast their empire. Then torch it. As sirens wailed distant in the city night, I whispered to the rearview, your move, Tom. The week before the gala was a pressure cooker, steam hissing from every seam. Marla fed me intel like contraband, wire transfers to a Cayman account, Jake's emails approving miscellaneous expenses that traced to Tom's poker buddies. Lena teased a teaser article. Trouble brewing at North Shore Powerhouse? No names yet, but the scent of scandal hung heavy. I juggled it all, day job drudgery. Night classes where professors droned about fiduciary duty like it was abstract philosophy, not the knife twisting in my gut. Sleep was a luxury. Dreams replayed the dinner party in loops. Faces morphing into masks at a Venetian ball. Who was real? Who complicit? Jake reached out midweek. Voicemail crackling. Mom. Dad's pissed about the visit. Says you're unstable.
But can we talk?
Lunch. We met at a diner in Skokie, greasy spoons and Naugahyde booths. The kind of place where secrets stick like syrup. He slid in opposite. Gaunt under fluorescent buzz. Menu unopened. I got your texts. About the firm. You read them? Hope flickered. Maybe the seed I'd planted. He nodded.
Slow.
Dad says you're fabricating. Jealous. But the numbers. They don't add.
Bingo.
It's not jealousy.
Jake.
It's justice. For me.
For you.
Walk away. His fingers drummed the formica, nervous tick from childhood. What if I can't? He's got dirt on me, old stuff. Rico called last month. Wants repayment for old favors.
Rico.
The ghost I'd buried. How much? 15 grand. Or he talks to campus security? Whoever. 15, the number echoed. Like the dinner guests. A cruel joke. Tom, no.
Yeah. Says he'll handle it. But Mom.
What if he can't? I leaned in. Voice steel. Then you come to me. We fight clean. No more shadows. He searched my face. Warring emotions, loyalty versus light. I miss how it was. Before I became the villain, bitterness seeped. No. He grabbed my hand. Before we all broke. We hugged goodbye, fierce. Lingering. As he left, I texted Marla, sun's cracking. Leverage. Her reply, careful. Blood's thicker than ink. The gala was Friday, black tie at the Drake. Chandeliers dripping like honeyed venom. I scoured thrift stores, scored a emerald gown that hugged like regret. Silver clutch hiding my phone recorder. Hair in a chignon. Makeup masking the hollows. Alina Hargrove 2.0. Phoenix in falsies. I crashed via an old client, Harold the HVAC king, who owed me for a condo flip. Alina? Hell. Join me. Been too long. The ballroom was opulence incarnate, tuxes and gowns swirling to big band covers. Ice sculptures of Chicago skylines sweating under spots. Tom held court near the bar, Karen on his arm in red sequins. Jake stiff in a rented cummerbund, handing out cards like contraband. Harold fetched champagne. I sipped.
Scanning.
Rita hovered, pearls choking her neck. Spotting me, she froze, then approached, smile brittle. Alina. You look festive. Festive. I clinked glasses. Like your chat with Tom? About the books. Her eyes darted. Eavesdropping again? Pathetic. Truth has ears. I leaned close. 50 grand's a start. What's the total? She paled, whispering, stay out. For Jake. Jake's why I'm in. I turned, spotting Tom mid-laugh with a developer, big fish. Bigger check. Harold steered me over. Introductions flowed like Merlot. Tom's face when he saw me. Thundercloud over Lakeshore Drive. Alina.
Didn't expect.
Harold. Old sport. Bringing my secret weapon, Harold boomed, clapping Tom's back. Alina closed my first deal. Tom's smile strained.
Yes.
Talented lady.
To me?
Lo. What game is this? No game. Just dancing. The band struck up Fly Me to the Moon, our wedding song. Ballsy move. I extended a hand. For old times, the floor cleared, eyes on us. He took it. Stiff, waltz steps mechanical, his breath hot on my neck. You're playing with fire. Already burned. I murmured, Mike picking every word. Embezzlement.
Tom.
Jake's signatures. The board gets it all, tonight. His grip tightened.
Bluff.
You destroy our son. Our son, yours now. Apparently. A spin. Skirt flaring. I took the fall once. Not again. Karen cut in then, tapping my shoulder. May I? Possessive. Her nails like talons. Tom released. I bowed out, heart racing. Harold whisked me to a table, but I slipped away to the powder room, firing the recording to Marla. Live feed. Pull the trigger. Minutes later. Buzz. Whispers rippling like wind through wheat. Phones out. Checking emails. Tom's face across the room, ashen. Arguing with a board suit. Jake, cornered by Rita, looked lost. I watched from shadows. Champagne souring. Victory? Or just the prelude to carnage? Then Jake found me, pulling me into a alcove. Mom, what did you do? Dad's flipping, says you're framing him. Framing. Echo of my own past. I gave him truth. Go home. Wait it out. He shook his head, tears brimming.
Rico textith.
Says Dad stiffed him years ago. Use my debt as cover. It's all connected. The room spun. Tom hadn't paid off Rico. He'd leveraged it. Kept the hook in Jake to control him. Layers upon layers. Onion of deceit. Run.
Jake. Now.
But security swarmed then. Tom's doing.
Pointing my way.
She's harassing. Ex-wife. Unhinged. Cuffs loomed, not real. But the threat. Harold intervened. Vouching, I bolted. Gown hiked. Heels clicking marble like gunfire.
Outside.
Valet chaos, rain again. Taxis honking. Marla called. Article dropping. Feds notified. You're clear. Clear? I laughed into the storm. Mascara rivers. Jake texted. Dad's confessing? WTF, Mom. Confessing to what? Partial truth. Painting me the instigator? The drive home was blur, sirens and mirrors. Paranoia peeking. At my door. Another envelope. This one photos of me. From the gala. Time-stamped. Note. Your move cost him. Now yours. Karen? Rita? Or Tom? Flipping the script, I collapsed on the bed. Gown pooling like bloodless wound. Revenge's high crashed, euphoria to emptiness. Had I saved Jake? Or sentenced him to war? Dawn broke gray, news alerts pinged. Kensington CEO steps down amid probe. Tom's empire crumbling. But the cost? Incalculable. And Rico, his shadow lengthened. Phase 4. Unearth the devil. The fallout hit like a Midwest blizzard, swift. Blinding. Burying everything in whiteout lies. By Monday, the Tribune splashed it. Real estate mogul accused of fraud. Family ties under scrutiny. Tom's photo. Mid-smile. Beside a grainy shot of Kensington's facade. No mention of me. Marla's doing. Source protection. But Jake's name leaked in the fine print. Junior associate implicated in approvals. My phone exploded. Harold. Supportive. Old PDA moms. Gloating texts like, karma's a bitch.
Huh.
Lena.
Probing. Your angle?
Deep throat. I ghosted them all. Holing up with takeout lo mein and true crime pods. Dissecting my own plot. Tom called Tuesday. Voice wrecked. Bourbon rough. You happy now? Firm's frozen assets. Jake's fired. Happy. Justice isn't happiness. I cradled the phone, staring at peeling ceiling. You built this cage.
We.
He laughed.
Broken.
You started it, taking that plea. Made you paranoid. Paranoid. Rage boiled. You cheated. Stole. Used our son as pawn. For what?
Ego.
Jekt glub duas. Silence. Then, come over.
Talk.
For Jake. Trap? Or olive branch? I went, armed with pepper spray. Recorder app live. The house loomed. Lights dim. Tom answered in sweats. Unshaven, vulnerable. Almost human. Kitchen island cluttered. Takeout boxes. Jake's lacrosse trophy from high school. He's gone. Crashed at a buddy's. Blames me.
Good.
I perched on a stool.
Distant.
Blames currency. You spent it all on me. He poured scotch, mine. The good stuff. Rico was the real snake. After your plea, he blackmailed me. Knew about the pills. Wanted in on the firm, silent partner. I cooked books to pay him off.
Jake.
I dragged him in to keep him close. Protect him. Protect. I snatched the glass, slamming it down. By signing his life away? Tom's eyes welled. Crocodile tears? I loved you, Alina. Still do, in a fucked up way. But you were the rock. I was the wave. Wave that drowned me. Liza Road. What's the endgame? Feds circling, Rico next. He deflated. Already called them. Full confession. Immunity for Jake. Maybe. A knock interrupted, sharp. Insistent. Tom paled.
Shit.
Door opened. Not cops. But Jake, rain-soaked. Duffel slung. Dad? Mom?
Shock.
Then fury. You both together? After this? Jake, we chorused.
Standing.
He dropped the bag. Voice cracking. Rico cornered me last night. Said Dado's double now. You're doing?
Mom.
Meddling bitch stirs the pot. He's got proof, videos.
Me.
Dropping the baggie. 5 years old. But it'll bury me. Videos. The secret I'd buried deepest. Now exhumed. We fix it. Together. Together? Jake roared, echoing Tom's old lines. You destroyed us. Dad's ruined.
I'm toxic. Employer's ghosting.
And you, to me, you played martyr. Leaked it all. I saved you, tears hot. From him. From this. Tom stepped forward. Son. Listen. Jake shoved him.
No.
You're both poison. I chose wrong. Trusted the wrong parent. He stormed out.
Door slamming seismic.
Silence crushed us, parents. Failures. Tom sank to the floor, head in hands. What now?
Now.
I stood.
Steady.
You confess. I testify. Truth outs. He looked up.
Broken.
And us. There is no us. But as I left, rain lashing, doubt crept. Had I avenged? Or accelerated the fall? Wednesday, Marla's update. Rico arrested in a Gary raid. Videos seized. Jake holed up. Radio silent. I drove to his buddies, frat house squalor in Evanston. He answered. Wary.
Mom.
What? Fight with me. I held out a flash drive. Marla's copy of Tom's full ledger. Or run. But running's what got us here. He took it, fingers trembling.
Why?
After I blamed you. Because you're my son. Flawed. Like me. We hugged, raw. Real. Dad called. Says he's turning states. For real. Progress. Or ploy. The climax crested Thursday. Federal sting at the old house. I watched from my Civic. Blocks away, SWAT vans silent as sharks. Tom emerged.
Cuffed.
No drama. Karen in the drive. Screaming at agents.
Rico.
Silent witness. Jake texted. It's over. Rico's singing. Blames Dad for the lacing too. Cover up from day one. Twist. Tom hadn't just skimmed. He'd sourced the bad batch. Cut corners for profit. Jake's errand was no accident, a setup to hook him.
Control the family.
I drove to the station. Bail hearing pending.
Tom.
Orange jumpsuit. Through plexi. Alina. No venom. Why me? The plea, the lie.
Feared you'd leave.
If you knew. Eyes haunted. Kept you close by breaking you. Monstrous logic. Jake knows. Soon.
Pause.
Forgive. Debate raged readers. Split. Villain or victim. I walked out. No answer. Months blurred. Trials.
Testimonies.
Tom pled. 10 years. White collar wing. Jake entered witness protection light. New start in Seattle. Grad school.
Me.
License reinstated. Job at a boutique firm. Lena's book deal. Betrayed at the table. But the end? No tidy bow. Last visit. Tom from prison. Wrote Jake. Told him everything. Your sacrifice, heroes. Not fools. Jake called weekly, tentative bridges. Miss the old dinners. Weird ones. I laughed. Make your own table. Fate's twist. In the ashes. We rebuilt, not whole.
But honest.
Happy? Tragic? You decide. Revenge's feast. Some savor. Some starve.
Me.
I ate alone. Finally full. Yet Sundays, I set an extra plate. Ghosts linger. And forgiveness? That's the real controversy.